What's up, guys? Today I want to show you guys two different graphs here that you can implement into your marketing so that your e-com ads perform better. Essentially, at the end of the day, this is super direct response, super in-depth, super advanced also. So if you're a complete beginner, if you're just starting out, if you're just, figuring out how to find your product market fit in the first place, probably not for you. But this is something when I applied it, or at least, when I applied it to people that I've been working with, it's a completely different thing how you approach your ads, how you actually approach the creative strategy, how you approach the output of your creatives, the creative volume. And I want to bring you guys closer, specifically these two graphs. First of all, obviously this map here with the 4 different persona types, and then second of all, David Hawkins' map of consciousness, and how you can really just apply both of these concepts into your ads. Really important. First of all, these are not mine, right? So I didn't invent none of these. This is from David Hawkins. I'm not 100% sure who made this. Probably Eugene Schwartz. But this is something which everyone probably knows out of sales, right? So if you're a sales guy watching this, you're probably going to laugh now, because this is a very common basic sales law, right? So there's 4 different types of people whenever you're selling to somebody. And essentially, that's the cool part. You can also apply this to marketing. You can also do this one-to-many inside of your paid ads, for example. Really powerful, right? And so what this specifically is, it just shows you essentially the 4 different types of people and how you have to really speak to them. So the blue type of person is the logical thinker, right? So this guy is analytical, as you can see here, right? So I'm gonna just tell you my experience with the blue types of people. A blue person, for example, is just gonna be absolutely just based off pure logic. It's gonna be really hard to convert a person like that based off of like pure like emotions, right? So it's very, very hard. It's going to be a lot of logical thinking. It's going to be very hard to get this person into the emotional purchase decision, impulse purchase mode, right? And so what's super easy with this person, however, is actually just to explain to them black on white and actually prove to them that you are on paper the better competitor, the better solution, whatever. And this is how you make a person like this buy. Now the red person, right? Red is completely dominant. He's gonna try to basically discredit everything you say. This is the type of person that writes hate comments under your ads. This is the type of person that leaves a bad review even though they've not bought your product. This is the type of person that's gonna really challenge you, right? And you speak to a person like this completely differently than to the blue person. Now yellow people are the exact opposite of blue. And so specifically a yellow person, what he essentially does is a yellow person goes like based off of emotions, right? So this is the hardcore impulse purchase buyer, very outgoing, very like it wants to try new adventures, it wants to see new things, he wants to try and go through trial and error and fail and fall down and still get up. This is the yellow person. And so yellow people, essentially what they do, like they're super, as you can see here, right? Outgoing, enthusiastic, optimistic, high-spirited, socially visible at the top, right? So these are the types of people that if you go out, for example, the club or whatever, then they're on the dance floor all day long. Like this is a hardcore yellow person. Now, a person like this, right, is obviously not going to care at all about an ad which is showed to a blue shirt person, because an ad that you show to a blue person is like purely based off of logic, purely based off of numbers, purely based off of actual proof. A yellow person is the opposite. A yellow person is going to react to emotions, right? To reactions, other people, super social, hyper social people, right? So if there's no actual real person in the ad, is not going to care about that. And then we have the green person. Green is the complete exact opposite of red, right? So a red person is super dominant, is going to challenge you. A green person is not at all. He's the calm guy. He's the chill guy, the calm guy. You can see even-tempered, patient, accommodating, humble, tactful, socially invisible, and no conflict. So he's going to avoid conflict with you, with everyone else. He's socially invisible because he's the one in the club who's actually super chill, right? So by the bar, whatever, like looking at the people, like looking at the yellow people dancing, right? So why am I telling you guys this? Now, the thing is, once you reach a certain scale with your ads, with your paid ads, let's say on Facebook, for example, you're going to have to really track a lot of metrics, because it's going to get, the differences between your ads going to get very, very small. And so you're going to move away from very high impact tests in the beginning to just something which is called iterations. And iterations mean you double down on one thing that worked and just make minor small differences, even if it's just like one word of the script or 1 second length differences. You're going to double down and you're going to change up very, very, very small things. And so applying this or concepts like this overall is just going to make everything a lot more profitable. So you're always in every stage in your e-com journey looking at, what's the biggest leverage move that I can make right now, right? This is how you grow. You make decisions. And after some point, and this is what you realize, it's not enough anymore to just, figure out a couple more desires and to add in another angle. It's not enough anymore, at least in my experience. So after you reach that certain type of scale, you need to convert and have specific ads for all these 4 types of people. Really important. Now, the reality is not just like super categorized and okay, you're red, you're blue, you're yellow, you're green, right? The reality is most people are somewhere in between, right? A lot of people, for example, and this is the worst type of customer to deal with, are blue and red combined. If someone's a blue and red person combined, it's super hard to convert them because first of all, they're going to challenge you, they're going to discredit you, they're going to see you as inferior. They're going to basically see themselves as superior to you. And because of pure logic, blue, right? Because of blue logic and actual proof and real stuff. And so if you have a combined blue and red person, very hard to sell to them, very hard to get them into emotional buying state, very hard to convince them. So you need a lot more of a customer journey, a lot different types of messaging and a different ad to make a person like this convert. And for example, a yellow-green person. A yellow-green person is probably the easiest combination because they're super adventurous, they're super outgoing, they're super social, but also they're super calm and they just kind of, okay, well, if you tell me this, I'm going to believe you, right? Why should you lie? They see the good in people, right? So they also see the good in people who made the ads, and that's why they believe if you show them something opposite of a person like this up here. But also there's blue-green people. Blue-green people are people who still go based off of accuracy, details, analytics, right? Very systematic approach, but also are super calm and like to believe you, being a little bit more calm and not say too much. There's also, by the way, red and yellow people, right? Also a really interesting combination because they're super dominant, super aggressive, but also yellows is super open for everything new. And so you're going to also speak to a person like that completely differently than to all these other types there are. And so you're going to have to structure every single ad that you launch after a certain scale into one of these, or at least be aware of this concept. Because for example, if all you do is try to speak to blue people, and this is what a lot of beginners do. A lot of beginners only try to speak to hardcore blue people, which is when you see an ad and it talks about, okay, well, we have this many features and they only have that many features. And we have this proof, this authority figure said this, and he said that. And we have a 1,000,000-day money back guarantee, and we have this and this and this. People are going to care about that. It's going to be hardcore blue. However, if an ad like that fails because it didn't talk about the deepest desire, actually just based off of logic, then maybe there just weren't that many hardcore blue people in your audience. And so you have to move away from that. You have to maybe test the opposite, super emotional stuff. Maybe include the calmness, right? So a hardcore green person is not going to, react positively if you roll over them. Like an ad that converts you win against the dominant person by just being more dominant. You convert a hardcore red person by being aggressive, by being dominant, by just being louder, screaming louder than them. But if you try to use that same ad on a green person, you're going to roll over them, right? Because they're not going to be as competitive. And so a green personality is essentially just going to is going to scroll away. Is not going to like you to shout and scream over him. He's going to actually just react to an advertising, which is like, hey, this is our stuff. We're cool because of this. Go ahead and buy if you want to. You don't have to buy. That's what a green person likes. A dominant person is not going to. He's going to get mad if he sees that, right? And so you're going to have to make different types of ads, at least be aware of this concept and test different messagings in terms of like, okay, well, I'm going to imagine maybe I want to speak to, dominant and influential people. So red and yellow. And so a combination of red and yellow people, would, for example, look like, well, okay, well, super dominant. So you have to be, first of all, really loud marketing. You have to make bold claims. You have to actually and then really just combine that with a super hard emotion, right? Because what yellow people react to their emotions, right? You have to prove to them, because based off of other people's social reactions, social proof, for example, works really well on this combination. This combination doesn't really care about social proof, right? This combination cares about pure studies, data, authorities, right? And so this is the first concept that I would like to present to you guys. Now, the other concept, the other thing that you also have to keep in mind after a certain scale into your ads and start to actually apply it, is the map of consciousness from David Hawkins. And so I'm not going to get too deep into what exactly this is, but this is like a super voodoo, just like spiritual stuff, which I don't really believe I don't really personally believe in that, but that's not the point of the whole video. The point of the video is that you can apply this to marketing, and that is actually really powerful, whether you believe in it or not. And so there's this basically, David Hawkins says you can divide every emotion in two different categories. You can have the lower frequency or lower quality emotions, and then you can have the higher quality. So that's the difference between power and force. Force is, when you, for example, are proud or angry, or, you feel a desire, you crave something, right? You're afraid, you grieve, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Shame is like the lowest human emotion that someone can ever have, right? Now, on the other hand, there's courage, there's neutrality, acceptance, willingness, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. So all these different emotions are the higher level emotions. This is a super complex topic. I highly suggest you read one of David Hawkins' books. You could read Power versus Force. You could read The Map of Consciousness. All these are super good books. But what I would highly suggest you do is actually get into actually start understanding what this means and start to apply this to your ads. So what's crazy about, this level map of consciousness is that David Hawkins says 80% of people are always in every situation in the lower emotions here. So in force, right? So they're proud, they're angry, they crave something, they fear something, right? They're sad, they're ashamed, right? So shame is really the lowest thing. And so what you have to do in order to speak to the majority of people, unfortunately, also position yourself when it comes to your marketing, when it comes to your ads, in these lower emotions and get people up. So you take someone who's ashamed and maybe make them, crave something, right? So you channel shame to anger or to desire, right? So you give them a way out, right? After craving something or being angry that you don't have something, still a lower emotion, but you already make them proud of something that they already have, right? You make them proud of maybe they have the first step to getting that whatever they now crave. And then you make them, then you encourage them, then you make them accept something, then you make them love whatever, you presented. So what you essentially have to do is you manipulate people, and this is unfortunately, hardcore manipulation, or I would say the difference between manipulation and sales is just your intention. I think if you want to actually help people, it's not manipulation, but it's the same tactics. It's the same exact mechanisms that you do, right? So keep that in mind. What you're doing in your ads is manipulation if you don't give a shit about them, if you just want them to buy and then forget that they even exist. It's just pure manipulation. But this is what marketing essentially is at its core, is changing beliefs, and changing beliefs is manipulation if your intention is bad. If your intention is good for them, then it's actually help. It's I would say then it's like actual marketing or sales or whatever, right? So think about it this way, right? You look at where most of our customers are at. So let's say most of our customers crave something really bad. They're hungry. They desire. There's a desire. Well, it would make a lot of sense to go one step up and make them angry. Try to dig deeper into, twist the knife and say, okay, well, like you should be angry. Like you should kind of, instead of being like, oh my God, I want this so much, they're angry to get it, right? They're like, they have this, it's one step higher, even though it's still in the lower emotions. Anger is above desire. Same thing for pride. If someone's proud, it's still a lower emotion, but it's like at the very top of the lower emotions. It's already completely different than being ashamed. Like ashamed is super low frequency emotion, right? It's the worst thing that you can have. Like you should never feel ashamed, by the way, like of anything, but if your customers are, then it might make sense to, feel guilt after that. So blaming themselves, feeling guilty is better than being ashamed, right? Being sad is already better than that. Being angry is better than that. Being proud is better than that, even though all of these are technically lower emotions. And so if one of your customers, let's say, is sad or something, or is afraid, or craves something, or is angry, or even, is proud of something, which is also not a positive emotion, you take that, you start your ad there, you start the hook there, and then essentially you move away and move them up in this level of consciousness, essentially, because the reality is not just like, oh, this person is in anger. No, it's like in every situation, we as humans react in these different levels of this map of consciousness. So think about it this way. Let's say someone is angry in one specific situation. Let's say they don't have something, they crave something, they have a desire, and they're angry that they don't have it, right? And let's say you identified, do research and due to checking out other competitors' ads, that most of your customers are there, right? So it might make sense to, move them up to pride, and then to courage, and to neutrality, and to willingness, and to acceptance, right? And if you were the reason that they feel better now, then they will buy from you. And that is just, by the way, once again, if your intentions are bad, it's just manipulation. This is the same exact thing to do this is like really just hardcore when it comes to sales or marketing. It's the same exact thing, okay? So keep that in mind, and then you can use all these emotions here. So, keep that in mind. So this is like, you can take a screenshot of this, essentially, if you're watching this video, and try to, whatever level of consciousness you're speaking to, let's say you're speaking to anger, then use the emotion hate, right? That's the strongest emotion when it comes to anger. It's a very negative emotion, but if you like think about, what maybe past world leaders have done or something like that, right? So it's like they've done this very well. They've channeled a desire or anger towards one maybe specific group of people, and then made people feel courageous and accept that they're the best ones. And, they made them feel better and manipulated them. Like, this is something which works in marketing really well, right? So this is what the process looks like. So for anger, emotion is hate. Process is aggression, right? Being aggressive. You have to understand these concepts. Take a screenshot, go through all of this, read the book Power versus Force and Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins. And I just wanted to show you guys these two concepts because I think it's super important to at least be aware of these when making your ads, when approaching your creative strategy. And I hope you could learn a thing or two. If not, then I hope you could learn a thing or two. If yes, then go ahead and write your main takeaway into the comments below. That was pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for giving me your most important asset, which is your attention, and I wish you a beautiful day.